From Marcos and Soldado to Tito and Chiquito, the drug trafficking ties between Colombia and the Balkans run deep. President Ivan Duque called it the most severe blow to Colombian drug trafficking in this century, comparable only to the arrest of drug lord Pablo Escobar 3 decades ago. The excitement was understandable. Dairo Antonio Usuga, better known in Colombia as Otoniel, was the country's most wanted drug trafficker, a former guerrilla turned leader of the El Clan de Golfo, the biggest criminal gang in Colombia. He was arrested in late October, 500 soldiers and 22 helicopters descending on his rural hideout in Northwestern Colombia. The ripple effect of Otoniel's downfall, however, will be felt wider than his South American homeland. Authorities say El Clan de Golfo had alliances with international drug cartels in Mexico, Italy and the Balkans. The latter connection is no coincidence. Ties between organised crime groups in Colombia and the Balkans goes back years, based not just on mutual interest, but similar backgrounds and sometimes military or paramilitary experience. So close were the ties that emissaries of the Balkans traffickers would visit Otoniel's personally to negotiate terms face to face. Many Balkans criminals had military training in their countries, and they could also belong to paramilitary groups or intelligence agencies. Balkan cartels use 5-star hotels for meetings, and then spend several days ensconced in the jungle to meet with the leaders of the Colombian criminal groups. As is the way of the criminal underworld, ties between drug traffickers can sometimes turn sour. In March 2020, a Serbian national called Dejan Danimorovic was shot dead in Colombia's Meta province during a drunken row with a man called Jose Vicente Rivera Mendoza. Stanimorovic, known in Colombia as Marcos, was reportedly a member of a Balkan crime group called Keka. Mendoza, known as Soldado or Soldier, had ties with Otoniel's El Clan de Golfo. But Stanimorovic was not the first criminal link between Colombia and the countries of the Balkans, nor is he likely to be the last. In fact, the drug trafficking ties go back at least 2 decades, to the period immediately after the bloody collapse of the socialist Yugoslavia and Albania's turbulent transition to capitalism, a period that gave rise to powerful local mafias, often with roots in conflict. The ties were first officially exposed in 2001 when 5 Albanian nationals, including a police officer, were arrested in Albania in a joint operation by Colombian and Albanian police that established a connection between the Medellin cartel that Escobar founded and Balkan mafia figures. 16 years later, 2 Colombian men and the grandson of former Albanian communist dictator Enver Hoxha, Ermal Hoxha, were found guilty of drug trafficking by an Albanian court. In Serbia, what began in the early 2000s with prominent crime figure Sreten Jokic continued with Darko Saric, who was convicted by a Serbian court in 2018 of smuggling 5.7 tons of cocaine from South America to Europe. A verdict revoked in June this year by the Supreme Court of Cassation on procedural grounds. Saric has been linked to the Colombian drug cartel and paramilitary group Los Rastrojos, formed by the Norte del Valle cartel's leader Vilber Varela, known as Jabon. Then in 2019, Serbian national Vladimir Vidakovic died of unknown causes in the hospital of Medellin, Escobar's hometown. First identified by Colombian authorities as a Serbian tourist, Vidakovic was in fact believed to be arranging drug shipments from Colombia to Europe and was assassinated by rivals. Colombia is not the only South American connection. Police in Ecuador believe the border between the 2 countries, particularly between the provinces of Putumayo and Sucumbíos, is the main route taken by Balkan organised crime groups smuggling cocaine. The area is controlled by former guerrillas of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC, and members of La Constru, a paramilitary organisation with ties to Mexican organised crime groups and one of the main cocaine suppliers to the Balkan mafias. Consignments are delivered to the Ecuadorian ports of Guayaquil and El Oro, Ecuadorian media reports say, and loaded onto ships, often carrying bananas bound for Europe. Between 2014 and March 2020, Ecuador arrested 24 people suspected of involvement with Balkan organised crime groups. In November 2020, Albanian national Adriatic Tresa was shot in the living room of his house by hitmen posing as police officers. Ecuadorian authorities believe Cesar Emilio Montenegro, a member of Varela's Cartel del Norte del Valle, is the main link to Albanian crime groups operating in South America. Among those crime figures was Ajim Serma. Serma, an Albanian national, was arrested in July this year in Monteria's northern Colombia on suspicion of shipping cocaine to Europe by private plane. Serma, who faces charges in the US, has spent the previous 7 years living in the seaport of Barranquilla. Weeks after his arrest, a police operation involving Europol and Colombian police took down a drug trafficking network of more than 60 people with links to the Balkans. A few months earlier, a Montenegrin citizen called Ivan Armas was arrested after half a ton of cocaine was seized on a sailboat in the Colombian Caribbean port city of Cartagena. Armas is believed to have been living in Colombia for 3 years prior to his arrest. He had fled Spain in 2018, having been implicated in a drug-related murder. Authorities said that, besides obtaining cocaine from Otoniel's El Clan de Golfo, Armas also had links with the National Liberation Army guerrillas in the Catatumbo sub-region. According to General Jorge Luis Vargas, the director of the Colombian National Police, emissaries of the Balkan mafia groups would travel into Paramillo massive mountain range and Uraba to negotiate with Otoniel and his right-hand man Chiquito Marlo. Marlo is suspected of playing a key role in the smuggling of 96 tons of cocaine to the US between 2003 and 2021, for which Otoniel and his partner Avila Villadiego have been indicted in New York. Marlo came to the attention of the European authorities roughly 4 years ago, Colombian police sources say, during an investigation into Bosnian citizen Edin Gasanin, alias Tito. Gasasin is believed to live in Dubai, from where he is believed to direct drug trafficking between South America and Eastern Europe. Gasasin's uncle, Mirza Gasasin, was arrested in the Dutch city of Breda in May 2020 on suspicion of money laundering. Police believe he was involved in trafficking cocaine hidden among bananas that left Antioquia, Northwestern Colombia, and were seized in the Belgian port of Antwerp. Law enforcement agencies suspect Marlo of being the main link between El Clan de Golfo and the Balkan Mafia, not just via Gasanin. Colombian authorities are investigating what contacts Montenegrin Tomislav Pavlovich had prior to his arrest in January 2019 in a Brazilian police operation dubbed Low Cost. Reports in Brazil say Pavlovich met several times with emissaries of Colombian cartels. Drug deals are struck during face-to-face meetings between 1 or 2 envoys of the Balkan cartel and their Colombian counterparts in a remote region. Cocaine shipments are usually executed by cargo ship or private plane. In the first case, investigators say the vessels usually make additional stops after leaving national ports to clean their origin, partly disguising the fact that their cargo is from Colombia. In June 2019, more than 15 tons of cocaine was seized on a ship from Chile that arrived at the US port of Philadelphia, the biggest ever cocaine seizure in the US. No link has been made publicly between the vessel and Colombia and Balkans, but sources close to the bus say the smuggling operation was typical of how Balkan and Colombian mafias collaborate. The other less common route is by air. This was Cerna's speciality, known as Jimmy. Cerna was intercepted, police say, while on his way to meet leaders of the El Clan de Golfo. I hope you've enjoyed this story, and please like, share and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content coming soon. Thank you.